I hate what you two have done to sports television.
You can say that all you want to.
I'm talking about all the imitators that you have birthed. All of the imitators that are all over the place, thinking without the journalism credentials that the point of all this is to turn it into an argument on television.
Well, I would take umbrage at what you're saying.
Dan Le Batard and Stephen A. Smith have sparred back and forth. Now they spar some more.
People sent me that Stephen A. Smith went after me.
Le Batard would then play audio of Smith ripping him.
I'm still disgusted about how he came at me with that question on his damn show. I hate what you and Skip Bayless have done to sports. Like his ass has been doing accounting. Did you have highly questionable? Was our daddy on the show with us? That was you. I'm talking about your comfort. You was on the show just looking at your father saying hi and giving him a hug and a kiss. You were debating. That's what you were doing. It amazes me how somebody like a Dan Le Batard will sit up there and lament the state of affairs in an industry you are participating in. You sitting on the air, I don't know how long ago it was, with Jemele Hill talking about how, you know what, it's a great thing you left. Really? Okay, probably is. Why is ESPN always a topic of discussion like this? And why are folks coming off like we're losing? Subscribers have diminished. We're in 72 million homes now, not the 90 plus million or even 100 million that we were years ago. Do you have any idea how dominant ESPN in the sports landscape? We're number one. No one's close.
Dan rightfully would ask, have you never seen Highly Questionable? To say that is a debate show is to indicate that one did not necessarily take it in.
He also said about, like, why do you say that? Why do you say things when you leave the employer when you didn't say those things while taking money from the employer?
I would say, hang on a second.
To me, as somebody whose parents made all the sacrifices to get to this country, send her back. How are you any more American than her? You're more privileged. You're whiter. You're richer. But people don't know whether your money's real or not. It is antithetical to what we should be. And if you're not calling it abhorrent, obviously racist, dangerous rhetoric, you're complicit.
This is a guy who ruffled feathers with ESPN because he was outspoken, because he spoke his mind. But Dan then points out Smith is likely not peeved at Le Batard at all. And he's actually peeved at another fellow ESPNer, Jemele Hill.
You know, my situation is like they were reacting to a moment then. That moment said that people didn't want to hear any political talk, any racial talk, any social justice talk. Not that that was something Mike and I were doing every day on SportsCenter. We weren't. They let a false narrative persist about our show that people just kind of ran away with. They let the idiots in the room control the conversation. People like Clay Travis. That's what happened. And because they allowed those people to direct their course of action, they panicked. And suddenly they were very intentional about the things that they were doing in our show. They wanted black faces. They didn't want necessarily black voices.
Le Batard then connects what Smith may have wrongly assessed.
When you say the phrase black faces, not black voices, and Stephen A. Smith is still one of the black faces at ESPN, and you're suggesting that he's establishment, that you're braver than he is because he's a part of the system that wrongs people. I understand him getting bothered by that insult, but your problem's not with me, Stephen A. Smith. You should take that up with her publicly if the objection is I don't like being told that I am somebody who's kept by the company. Even as you write in your book that you wake up every day thinking of ways to make money for the company, and you're the one they throw out there when Dana White gets in trouble and they've got all sorts of conflict of interest and they need somebody to give a voice to something, and you talk about how you're friends with Dana White.
There's more, but first on the Stephen A. is establishment line.
I think Stephen A. is probably a little more conservative than people think. And because of that, I wonder if that is why they also feel comfortable doing this. I've said it many times before, and I don't know, people either don't believe me or they continue to challenge me on it. ESPN is a conservative environment. ESPN generally has a conservative corporate culture. And I think because Stephen A. is a little more middle of the road and maybe a little right leaning, I think that also gives them the comfort to, allow him to traffic in this other space.
And it's true. He has been having on, hosting, and agreeing with the likes of Sean Hannity of Fox News, Bill O'Reilly, Will Cain, Clay Travis. Zero pushback on Clay Travis. He has hosted Chris Christie. I mean, what are we doing here? Let's go over a few of the talking points, okay? He said, why is ESPN a topic of discussion, while saying one sentence later, that ESPN is number one? Quite a moment. Why would folks rip ESPN and go over their inadequacies when we're at the top? I just don't understand. The theory is punching up, not punching down. ESPN is also flawed. It's checking the media. It's calling out the hypocrisies, calling out the shortcomings, not letting anything fall by the wayside. You know why Stephen A. is saying this? And I like how Dan quoted Stephen A. himself from his book, which is, I get up every morning and thinking about how much money I can make the company. You are a company, man. You are establishment. But I always go back to what Jemele Hill said, which was Stephen A. gets away with a lot more because he leans conservative. That shows you everything. Because you know who did not get that benefit of the doubt? Dan Le Batard.